What were the three main objectives you had before starting your work placement?
I wanted to do something totally different and new to me that I hadn't done before. I've dabbled in writing and things like that, and obviously my degree is almost entirely writing in history and philosophy. But I wanted to work in a professional creative environment. Also wanted to use the opportunity to network and meet some new people in a different field to that which I've had before, maybe to go and work for them again in the future and things like that. And also just to meet people more generally who may have been of a similar mindset to me and kind of expand my circles in that sense.
The first thing that I wanted to do is I really wanted to get a bit more experience in the kind of video production industry, because towards the beginning of my first year I didn't really have that much experience in that area, but I knew that that was definitely something I wanted to go into. I need to get more experience in an industry point of view rather than just in terms of my course. The other thing is that I wanted to have a bit more experience with working alone, because previously I'd done quite a few group projects and I wanted to see how I could cope with having to come up with a video idea and then produce it, edit it myself. I wanted to get some more contacts in the industry and network so that when I leave university I have places to go in terms of getting more experience or maybe even getting a full-time job.
I wanted to improve on my professionalism. I wanted to gain things like leadership skills and be able to do a bit more public speaking, be confident in my work. Organisation skills have massively improved from it, and definitely my interpersonal skills, because I was constantly talking to different people.
So first of all, I wanted to see, because I'm thinking of doing journalism when I'm older, I kind of wanted to get a feel for it and see whether that's actually something I wanted to do. I also wanted to learn a new skill. I didn't really know what in mind, but just anything to help me like develop and then just grow some confidence really with my writing, try and adapt it to different scenarios.
My first objective was to make sure that I was fully engaged in the work placement so that I could get the maximum benefits I could out of it. Secondly, I wanted to push myself and try new things that I wouldn't do before. I knew there's going to be some activities like rock climbing and abseiling that I'd be really scared to try, but I knew that I needed to push myself to get there. Lastly, my final objective was to develop interpersonal skills, particularly listening. Safeguarding was such a major thing within this placement. It was vital that I listened actively to all the conversations that were had, so to pick up little things that might need to be brought up to the leaders.
I wanted to dive into something new. I wanted to try podcast editing, because I'd never done that before and you don't really get the chance to do it on this course. I wanted to meet new people, new contacts, and just build my portfolio as well.
So I wanted to be able to not just be able to write an essay, because most of my modules are writing essays, and obviously, as I said, I had to conduct a conference paper. So I wanted to be able to change my skills, learn how to not just write in an essay format, and also be able just to be confident and be able to present in front of a conference very successfully. And also just because I do want to go into maybe journalism or something, conducting interviews to the right structure that we wanted was what I really wanted to learn, and I think I did.
I wanted to gain a bigger understanding, was probably the most interesting one, a bigger understanding of what the job entitled, especially my teacher training, because that's an idea of where I really want to go. So I really wanted to understand what the working day was like for a teacher itself, because everybody just assumes that a teacher works 9 to 3 and then goes home and puts their feet up for the rest of the day and they have 13 weeks off, where in reality they're actually there till 6, 7 o'clock at night. To understand a bit more about the inner natures behind the scenes, rather than you hear about the coaches, players, staff, the actual ground, but actually more of the historical content behind the scenes and everything, and it was really interesting finding all of that.
Can you give a list of the three main things that you learned whilst being on work experience?
I learned that working as part of a large team especially is very good, but it can present unique challenges. The best way to handle those is to just be open and honest and sort of amicable with everybody about it. I also learned to sort of just be a bit more confident with things, because, as I said, it was something completely new to me, and once you take that first step and that plunge into something completely new, you'll probably be better at things than you would have thought. Everybody's in the same boat as you around meetings and things like that. Everybody's a little bit nervous about who wants to speak first and putting their ideas forward. But if you just do it, if you just put your ideas out there, people will respond quite positively.
Leadership skills and things like that, because I was a representative of the social media team and of the whole advertising part and marketing part. I had to kind of push myself to my limits and was really challenged because I don't particularly like public speaking. So for me to get up in front of people, and for instance, part of the module was to write either an article or a book review. So I did a book review on transgender identity in the media, and then I had to showcase that at the conference so people would walk around and we'd talk about our posters and things.
I think I have grown confidence with my writing, and I have learnt to apply it because I had to do either blogs for the Simbricks website, which would be more for like children and their parents to look at, and then a blog that was more for his business side of things. So I had to see the differences between that. So I've just got some real life skills from it, really.
The first thing that I learned is that work experience is really valuable. It teaches you a lot about yourself and a lot about the working world that you maybe didn't assume was part of the working world. Developing skills and attributes are a major thing of work experience. And what my placement taught me is that you can develop a range of graduate attributes without even realising it. I realised by the end of the week that I had developed my reflective and analytical skills just by completing the simple task of a nightly briefing. A placement can be fun. It's not about sitting on a desk, sitting at a chair, thinking, typing up, writing loads of things. It can be fun. You can go out and do all the different activities I took part in.
I learned that I do enjoy working in a relaxed environment. Simbricks was very, very chilled out. You know, it was a lot of do a bit of work, have a little chat, do a bit of work, chat. Which was great because I don't like the kind of big corporate sit head down, get on with your work kind of environment. Don't like that. I learned how to use Audacity as well, which is a sound editing program which I used for the podcast editing. But I also actually learned what I don't want to do. And although I have dabbled in podcast editing, I've decided that it is not something that I want to go into. I didn't find it intellectually stimulating or challenging enough for me. I want to do audio-visual editing.
I think I've learned how to specifically relate the interview questions to the topic. So, you know, a lot of people were not sure what questions they wanted. So me and my teammate, we had to kind of go through, we were like, what links to the questions, what links to what we really want to show, the hidden voices. So, for example, you know, he was talking about how, you know, his daughter had inspired him to read a book and to write a book that was, you know, suitable for boys and girls. And so we made sure that we really specifically did questions that related to that.
I think the biggest one for me would be about the teaching, and that it's not all about 9 to 3, it's a lot more and everything, and that in actual fact the 13 weeks they get off is fully deserved, and it's enticed me even more to actually wanting to go into teacher training after I do my history degree. With the Trent Bridge work, it was absolutely fascinating to find out what other opportunities there are in history as a history student rather than just going to teaching or working at a museum. There are other places, even in sporting world, where there are places up for grabs.